Hello and a very warm welcome to The Form, your weekly preview of all the key races as we approach the weekend. Of course, off the back of a massive weekend for Champions Day on Saturday, we really focus in on Tauranga and Whanganui this week with the Group 2 Japan Trophy, the key race to highlight. We've got Bevan Sweeney and Leith Innes with the team this morning here on The Form. A very good morning to both of you. Looking forward to getting some insight into our key races. Here's a look at the agenda. As mentioned, the Tauranga preview, the highlight there, of course, the Japan Trophy at Group 2 level. We also have Whanganui. We get to our race trackers, our black bookers. We then look ahead with a futures focus with some key Group 1 races approaching here in New Zealand, and we wrap things up, hoping to find a winner or two with our best bets. It's all right here on The Form this morning. Well, let's start this preview with a look at Tauranga to kick things off. And Leith Innes, we'll bring you in at this point because we need a little update in terms of the weather and track conditions that we're going to find at Tauranga this weekend.
Yeah, Emily, currently the track's soft 6. Look, we're looking at a high of 24, low of 14. And look, the track's from the 1,000 metres to the 400. The rail's out 2 metres, and then from the top of the straight to the winning post, it's in the true position. So, look, come Saturday, we should be back to that sort of soft 5, good 4 coming after race 2 or 3.
Here's a look at the market for our feature, the Ultimate Mazda Japan Trophy at Group 2 level. And as you can see, Waitak and Aegon are pretty much sharing favouritism at 5s and 550. Others in single figures, Navigator and, of course, Herbert. Interesting contender, Wild Knight, back from Australia. First things first, let's launch into a speed map. And Leith, talk us through how things might unfold. Leroy Brown, the obvious speed influence.
Yeah, look, it looks like a really good race with those back markers. Leroy Brown, he runs at really high sectionals up front, especially over a mile. So you got Butterfield on the outside, has to be winner, will go forward. Skyman from the outside gates, and you've got Navigator, Waitak, natural horses that sort of get back behind midfield.
Let's have a look at some videos. That'll give us a real indication as to where we want to look in this race. And a good starting point is, of course, Waitak, who brings recent Group 1 form through the BCD Group Sprint and this one, which was the Otaki Māori Weight for Age. Bevan, a horse who races off speed, and I guess that's not entirely favourable at Tauranga.
It's going to be really interesting, Em, because we do have that tearaway leader, but apart from that, there's not a lot of attackers on speed, is there? And look, we're looking at a couple of horses here, Leith. Waitak, who's running massive races, but he's just not getting to the line first. He's been massive on more than one occasion, and Aegon, who was massive at Trentham, disappointed last time, comes back to set weights and penalties where he's much more suited probably in this point in his career, but we just don't see them winning out of turn. Waitak's been going great. Aegon at its best will be right in the mix, but it's really hard to know where we weigh them up.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mystery, that last start for Aegon. He was so disappointing, but the start before that in the Thornton Mile, he was desperately unlucky at a set weight and penalties race where he had 55, where he carries this week as well. So, look, Waitak out of that race ran the fastest 800, 604 and 2. Gee, I just wish he had a draw. If he had a draw and he was sort of 3 back, 1 out, I thought he was going to be awfully hard in this race.
The next video is, of course, Herbert. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm finding this horse really hard to sort of line up. You can't ignore the 3 wins on a bounce. They've been in good company. But can he take the next step? Could he win on Saturday?
Yep, he can, Emily. He didn't really have or leave any excuses apart from Navigator in this race. He was caught 3 wide the trip, and gee, was strong through the line. He's always been a horse that has been tough to watch because he's had terrible manners. Well, he's just come really rock solid now, and he's probably got a draw that he can be a little bit aggressive with Leith and find a nice posse in the run. Look, there's a few horses that haven't won for a while. He's a winner, and he's really developed nicely. Of course, we did see also Navigator there being an absolute tragedy, really.
Yeah,
but you never know how quickly it was going to quicken Navigator, but I'm sure there would have been a fair old turn of foot.
Yeah, I think Navigator on his home track there, if he got that gap, he was going to give Herbert a good run for his money. Like you said, Bevan, obviously Herbert, through his earlier career, he threw a few races away where he was quite green and he'd run out and do things wrong. Obviously, he's having his first start right-handed this week, but he's in good form at the moment, and Harry Grace has got a good record with the horse as well.
He sure does. And the other horse just to highlight in this race is Wild Knight, who was across the Tasman in Australia, returned to New Zealand in that Walker Burgess and Tiakau colours. What did you make of this trial when finishing 4th of 7 in behind Yaldi, Bevan?
He's an interesting horse because in form, look, he can beat any field, this horse, but he's obviously had a few leg issues throughout his career. And in Australia, he was good without being as good as we probably know, but he does attack the line here really nicely. Leith gets in 55 kilos where he's probably suited. Warren Kennedy is a big plus aboard the horse. Look, he marks up really nicely in this particular field on what he's done prior.
Yeah, look, his first up run in Cranbourne Cup, he ran 5th and it was a really good run. His next 2 runs were just so they brought him back to New Zealand. He's sort of one of those horses back to his home country. He's probably settled into his Matamata routine. And look, he's had 1 start at Tauranga for a win as well. So if he brings any of that good form back at the set weights and penalties, he's got to be a top 3 chance.
He sure has. He's got plenty of ability. Well, there's a look at the videos for the Japan Trophy. Let's hear from the connections now, and we start with Andrew Scott, who talks us through Waitax since that last run in Group 1 company.
We've sort of taken a step back from the Group 1 racing, and he's just coming back into the Group 3 there on the weekend. And look, he's going really well. He's probably put in a PB there on Tuesday morning, worked in really well. And yeah, he's got top weight, but he should run really well. He's conditioning well. He's holding up to a campaign so well. And second crack at the mile this time round. If we can just hopefully get a bit more of a prominent position, he's going to be in a better position to strike. He's just sort of giving himself an impossible task every start.
All right, and where are we sitting now with Uduzo?
Yeah, 2 starts ago, deadly unlucky, and then at Ellerslie, and then last start we rode him a bit upside down and got too close to the speed on a hot speed round Taupo when the winner come from last. So we'll look to ride him a little bit more conservative, and if he can bounce back to his form 2 starts ago, he's going to be pretty close. Also, another one that's holding up to the campaign really well, handling the quick ground, so he should perform well.
Still tickles a little bit thinking about that race, but especially with the stake on offer, but he's come through it well. He's no harm done. He's worked super yesterday morning.
First of all, what you wish for, a horse is in a good space at the moment?
Yeah, I thought his win here in the listed Kaimai Stakes was very good. We've kept him pretty fresh back to the mile and worked really nicely on Tuesday morning. He should hopefully have taken a good bit of confidence from that win, and hopefully he can run well there on Saturday and then on to the Alpine Gold Cup back to the 2000.
Also, you've got Wild Knight in the race, back in NZ. How's the horse come back?
Yeah, he's travelled back super. It didn't go to plan for him over there. He ran really first up, well first up over there in the Cranbourne Cup without a lot of luck, and then a couple of disappointing efforts. So we've got him home. He seems bright and well back here in New Zealand. Work was good on Tuesday, and he won at Tauranga before heading over to Australia. So back to that track. Hopefully we can, see a return to form for him.
Dionysus first up.
Yeah, he is fresh up, and look, he's going to probably be a bit vulnerable at a mile fresh up, but we're trying to lead towards the Alpine Gold Cup, and regardless of the result there, it'll probably be his last run. He's been a good warrior for us, and he's probably coming to the end of his career.
And your other runner in the races has to be a winner. Comes in with really good, consistent form through the summer.
Yeah, he's a form horse, and no reason to think that he's not going to go a very strong race again. He's a handy galloper. We've had to wait for him, and the owners are getting the deserved results.
Roger James talking about his contenders in the Japan Trophy. It's time for our selections. Leith, we'll start with you. What do you like in the Japan Trophy at Tauranga on Saturday?
Yeah, look, obviously this race is a really good edition of the this year's edition of the Japan Trophy. Look, there's probably a number of chances. I thought just Navigator, he's a great each way price, 7s and sort of at $2.80 a place. Look, looks like there's going to be a lot of speed on, and he'll be hitting the line late.
Can't disagree with you, Leith, actually. I think Navigator's in fine fiddled. The run at Trentham in the Group 1 sprint was fantastic. You forgive Te Rapa when completely off the track, and Matamata, we know what happened, never really got a crack at them. So I'm with Navigator. Has to be a winner, interests me, just from that particular gate as well. I think it will find the perfect spot in the run, and it's out to 19 and 5. I think that top 3 price around has to be a winner as good as well.
Time for the undercard at Tauranga, and we start with race 5, the Triton Pacific. Owen's Plate over 1,200 metres, an open handicap, a small field with Yaldi at the top of the book ahead of Grand Gallo. You've got Insatiable, Pokeroo Gold and Miss Roquette in the mix. It is very open when it comes to the 5th at Tauranga. Let's start with Yaldi. That's the first replay that we look at. A couple of key changes here, Bevan. The blinkers go on and has been freshened, meeting top 3-year-old company of late.
Well, he's a very good horse, Emily. If you were to back him out of the trials, you'd be on him every single time he goes around at the trials because he can put up some spectacular performance. And here's another one. I think he was held up a fraction in the 3-year-old Ellerslie and behind Damask Road just by the rain that fell. Look, he's probably promised to be right up with the best of them, Leith, but we haven't quite seen it yet, and maybe the blinkers on. We'll see the real Yaldi turn up on Saturday.
Yeah, I honestly think he's a real 1,200 metre horse as well. Look, he's got so much ability. He gets there a little bit too soon sometimes. So, look, Tauranga is probably a track where if he can just sort of sit just off the speed, the blinkers on, he's well weighted. He looks awfully hard to beat in this race.
The other key chance is, of course, Insatiable, and that's the next video that we take a little look at. This is the last start third, which obviously was at Trentham on the 2nd of March. Been pretty consistent, Bevan, with what this horse has been doing, but does have to carry the 60 kilos.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue, Em, isn't it? 54 this day, up to 60 on Saturday. But this is a massive performance because Lahasa's led up, kept on kicking and won. And Insatiable's come from the clouds, and there's a couple of nice horses just behind them. Now, the track did get pretty firm this day, so just keep an eye on that factor just out of this particular meeting, but we've just seen it in the last couple that just hasn't quite got there, but has been very good.
Yeah, obviously the 60 kilos is a big question mark, and he's also had 2 starts at Tauranga for 2 misses, so look, he's going to need them to go extra hard. Look, he's probably maybe a top 3 chance, but I can't have him on my winning ticket this week.
A horse that really intrigues me in this field is Pokeroo Gold. That's horse number 4. I mean, when you look at the overall record, Bevan, 4 starts, 3 victories, obviously has plenty of ability. Hasn't run since the 15th of June, but had those 2 tidy trials.
Yeah, it's a market indicator, isn't it, around Pokeroo Gold, Emily. If the money comes in, you can follow. Big, strong horse who just bowls along lethal, but there is a little bit of tempo in this race with Powwow here and a couple of others that will go pretty quick, but soft as you like at the trials, the record states that this horse will go through another couple of grades quite quickly.
Yeah, obviously he's got a couple of little issues that he's likely raced. He's only been there once, and he's well suited at the weight conditions of the race. He's got 57 kilos. He's definitely a winning chance for me.
The next horse that we take a little look at is Grand Gallo, of course, for the O'Sullivan Scott stable. And we have a look at that last 2 starts ago when winning. Needs the tempo of the race to suit Bevan, doesn't he, Grand Gallo? And that last start, obviously, a little bit unlucky, but let's focus on the win here 2 starts ago.
Yeah, perfect ride this day, Emily, by Master. He sort of got that split, and the horse has taken advantage of that. Very smart horse down on the inside, clearly Irish Legacy, who it just beat. So you take a line around that particular form with the right run. It's got the draw just to pull off, get a quick split, and I think this horse is well capable in a race like this, Leith, but it's probably pretty even across the whole width of this field.
Yeah, it's a small field, obviously, but yeah, just to put a line for his last run, 1,400 metres, just a little bit sort of hard for me, over races a little bit. Back to Tauranga, where he's had 3 starts for 2 wins and a placing, so he loves the joint as well.
And then finally, the last horse we want to check out is Miss Roquette, who just carries the 54 kilos. And this is a last start win at Ellerslie. It was a pretty impressive win, and I know the connections think a little bit of this mare.
Yeah, and you can only keep on winning, and she's won 3 of the last 5, and she was close up at Ellerslie behind a very smart horse in Kauhiroa last time. Ace draw was key. Should be able to find the perfect spot with a very positive rider and Sam spread aboard. So the worst I can see here is in the trailing position. She's really informed the 5-year-old mare by El Rock, and now she'll put herself in the race. And if there's any chinks in a couple of others' armours here, including Yaldi, could be really dangerous, this horse, Lee.
Yeah, from barrier 1, Sam will jump and punch her right in behind the speed. Look, gets into the race with great weight as well. She's only got 54 kilos, and I know the stable, Stephen Marsh, are really happy how she's going at the moment as well.
Right, let's get to the selections. Leith, we'll start with you. It's a tricky one, the 5th, but who have you got on top?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Yaldi. I really think he's a true 1,200 metre horse. The blinkers go on is a big plus. Lack of tempo in the race is a little bit of a concern, but I think he's definitely a winning chance, and $3 is good money.
Oh, again, unfortunately, I can't disagree. Yaldi is quality. I don't think we've seen the absolute best version of him yet. I think he's still learning. The blinkers go on. He settled back and got across the top of him at the trials, which was really, really interesting. He's another one whose demeanour and sort of race day performances haven't been absolutely up to his peak end, but we might just see the real horse on Saturday. He's right in the mix if he gets everything right amongst our 3-year-olds.
There's another 3-year-old race on the programme that we just want to have a little look at, and that is, of course, the 4th. The J-Swap Contractors 3-year-old 1,200-metre event. Love Poem engaged as the favourite ahead of I'm All In, I Am Nuts and Sister Ping, the only 4 in the single figures. The first and obvious horse we start with is our favourite, Love Poem. Competed in the 2 1,000 guineas and the 2,000 guineas, a placing and a 4th in both of those. This is the trial, Bevan, and although 6 of 8 was actually quite nice and quiet.
Yeah, it wasn't touched. It really was Love Poem. She just sat in behind them and worked her way to the line. Fresh 1,200 metres. She's actually got a really good record at the 1,200 metres, and she went down south for an extended period to get to those 2 Guineas races. And I thought she performed with great credit behind clearly Savagely and Captured by Love, who are top notch. And she was only a couple of lengths off them with a spell under her belt. Leith, there's sure to be a little bit of improvement by Snitzel, so you wouldn't be stressed about 1,200 metres fresh either.
No, and that was Damascus winning that trial, and look, Michael McNabb rode her at the trials there, and he had the handbrake on. She looks super. Little bit of a tricky gate, barrier 9, but being a bigger field, 11 runners, they should run at pretty good tempo in the race as well.
I'm All In is the next replay that we highlight. This son of Zeus star Sam Spratt, Stephen Marsh combine, and brings some nice form references, Bevan, through Midnight Edition and Ardalio. This, of course, that last start second behind Midnight Edition at Pukekohe.
Yeah, I thought this horse is a little bit false odds for me. I think, albeit there isn't a win in the form line in recent times, I thought Super at Ellerslie behind Ardalio in the big night, coming up the inside, probably not in the right part of the track. They're all centre down the crown, and it kept on finding the line. Sectionally, it sort of measures up, and this effort at Counties sort of sat there and kept on finding the line. Draws a little bit of a niggle for me as to where they go. They could push forward if they put the horse right there, Leith. Look, it's certainly got enough constitution to keep rolling pretty strongly over the 1,200 metres.
Yeah, obviously, if the track's running fast on the inside, as we can see at Tauranga sometimes, Sam will be positive. She'll probably sit outside the leader, and look, he's had one start at Tauranga for a placing as well. So, look, he's in good form at the moment. He's got to carry the top weight, but if that track's playing really early on, if they're playing inside on speed, he's got to be a top 3 chance.
It certainly looks that way. Another of the top 3 chances perhaps might be the 4, I Am Nuts. Bevan, a pretty lightly raced type, but brings last start winning form on the 12th of February, beating Zapponi from the Walker Burgesson stable.
Look, still pretty green, Emily. The head carriage isn't quite there, and I'm not sure this horse knows exactly how to really flatten out. This is a good one. I think this is a decent sort of step up, though, in quality. Just balanced up that last 100 metres when it sort of got clear of the others. It's not going to be a mile 4, but it's certainly a horse with a fair bit of potential. Yeah,
he's getting better and better with every start. He's got the breeding on his side as well. Big, long striding horse. I'm just not sure where he's going to end up from that barrier 8. It's going to make it a little bit tricky for him, I reckon.
Yeah, just might prove the tonic. All right, horse number 9 is Sister Ping, and that's the next one that we get to. This is the last start, third at Taupo on August the 21st. Obviously had a spell since then, and has been to the trials twice. What do you make of this one, Bevan?
This is a smoke. I've been waiting for this horse. That's Alabama Lass out in front of this particular horse. I think it was RK Smile down towards the inside. Velocious is behind it. We knew Velocious wasn't at her best. But if you go back to this horse's win, it was incredible on the synthetic. Missed away by plenty. Actually had a warning post that particular race about its manners. Went to that particular race and ran up against some very serious horses and wasn't far away. Both trials have been quiet. The draw's going to be very niggly, but it doesn't muster a heck of a lot early. Been waiting for this filly to come back, Leith, and I'm going to have a little bit of expectation on this horse on Saturday.
She's certainly in the right stable. Chad Ordsby, look, she's got really bad manners. Sometimes, as we've seen a late scratch before. She's one of those fillies, she's going to get back, but if they go over hard, if they sort of overdo it, she's going to be flying home. And like you said, Bevan, she's got so much ability. Just want to see her in the flesh before I put my money on her this week, though.
Yeah, she can be difficult to handle, can't she? All right, let's get selections. Leith, what are you liking in that 3-year-old event?
Yeah, hopefully the speed's on. I think Love Palm's the best horse in the race. If Matt Cartwright can just get a nice economical trip, sort of midfield, one out somewhere. Look, just going on her trial, I think she's the one they all have to beat this week.
Sometimes I go with my gut, and my gut says Sister Ping's a good horse in the right stable with that little bit of experience on board, a little bit of improvement in manners, a little bit like Herbert. If the penny is to drop with Sister Ping, I think there's all sorts of ability here. So just like the value around Sister Ping, they'll have to go hard though, but just going to stick with Sister Ping because I just think there's a big motor there.
Let's change tack and head down the country to the Central Districts because it's now time to take a look at Whanganui, and Bevan Sweeney will bring you in at this point. We need a little weather and track update for Whanganui on Saturday.
Well, interesting enough, and I haven't seen an update on the website. The track's at a good 4 at the present moment. Now, the rail, we had issues last time at Whanganui where the last few races were called off. We spoke with Kate Hercock. She said that was a rail issue. Well, they'll put it back into the true position. So not imagining any issues there, but generally at the stage of the week, there'd be a bit more cut in the track. The forecast doesn't have any issues in it, Emily, so it'll be intriguing to see what we get to on Saturday, but good 4 at the moment.
Right, let's sink our teeth into the form. And the first race we get to is the Carpet Maintenance and Cleaning Open over the 2,040 metres. You've got, I'm going to not pronounce this correctly, I'm sure, Bevan, you can correct me on that, but Shebwe at $2.80. You've got All Off and Fats in the mix. Bevan, we'll start with a replay of that horse, which I'm sure you can pronounce the name a little bit better than me.
Very good, Em. Very, very good. Professional. Shebwe, the basketball player. I get it wrong every time. I call it Shebwe, but it's Shebwe. This is just a true blue staying horse for Dean McKenzie and Alan Sherrick. It's been brave the whole way through. Look, I don't think the 2 opens at Whanganui are overly strong, but the Tiako horse that wins this had put together a really nice record, and the horse is going nicely enough and has won 2 from 2 locally at Whanganui. Lethan in a small field will be pretty tough to catch.
Yeah, he's going to be right on speed. Probably looks like the leader in the race. Amber Waddell takes over from Summer Moxwa, who's suspended at the moment. So he gets down to that nice weight of 53 kilos. But like you said, Bevan, it's a bit of a trap, this race, where a lot of the horses are sort of using it as a guide for 2 weeks later for the Manawatu Cup.
Here's a little look at Fats. That's the next horse that we touch on. And Fats, obviously, this is 4 starts ago, so that's just important to note. What do we make of this win and what's happened since?
Well, this horse built to a win at Trentham to get it into, was it the Remataka Classic from memory, and then went to the Remataka Classic and was only beaten 4.5 behind Titikaka, who's a serious staying horse. Now, won this day in very similar pattern into that particular performance, a winning performance at Trentham and the Remataka Classic. He's had a little bit of freshen up, a trial, a 1,600 metres, gets in here with 54 kilos. Lethan can be really, really dangerous. I think he is a really nice staying horse, Fats.
Yeah, he certainly is. I talked to Chrissy Branbury last week, and look, she's sort of aiming for probably for the St. Leger in 2 weeks' time for 2,600 metres. She's just worried about the sort of firmer track this week, but look, being a small field, he's got to be a top 3 chance.
The next race that we take a little look at is another where we wind back the clock, Bevan, and this is sort of 4 starts ago, a second from November for All Off. What do you take away from this? And same question, what's happened since?
Well, he's a horse that's slightly raced, and he's had a few issues physically. What I take out of this race is that's Whanganui winning, who should be winning in his next start. He's been massive in the best of company recently, and he was attacking the line, wasn't he, against Whanganui. So his best version would be very hard to beat here. He's had a couple of miles. He's back up to a staying trip. David Houth is a very, very good trainer. So I respect this horse, Leith, but just possibly wanted to see it a little bit more across the last 3 starts.
Yeah, look, he's another one. Obviously, his target's probably in 2 weeks' time, the Manawatu Classic, but I really think he can win the race, being a smaller field. He's won on the track before as well, and a couple of placings there. So, look, I think he's definitely a winning chance.
Selections, please. Leith, who's on top?
I found it a pretty tricky race, Emily, and I've got all of it. I think the speed should be on the race, and if he can get the last run of them, I definitely think he can win this week.
I went with Fats and a little bit when Leith mentioned that Chrissy's heading to the St Leger, which does make obvious sense, but I thought he was well capable in a race like this. Fats, look, I followed him into that last start win at Trentham, leading into the Rumataka Classic. I'll be following him again into the St Leger. He's a decent staying horse, but went with Fats Emily in the first of the features at the River City.
Okay, let's move on to race number 3, the Whanganui Taranaki Racehorse Association Owners Open over the 1340. Very small field here, Amend, the best backs. First video we look at is our favourite in Amend, and Bevan has won 2 of its past 3. It's racing in great form and looks like the likely leader.
Likely leader for sure, because he takes hold and he's often gone. He's a pretty hard horse to handle, but very, very slick. This wasn't the strongest race you'll ever find. No rain Everson behind, just follow that horse into its next start. But look, if you leave this horse alone, pretty tough, Leith, will keep on rolling.
He never goes a bad race, and look, the Whanganui track's going to really suit him. Looks the natural leader in a small field. He does have to carry that 58 kilos though.
Next horse we take a look at is Mr. Mojo Rising, who brings that last start 6th. That was in fresh order. There's a couple of positives here, Bevan, inside draw, the weight, and obviously can improve off that fresh run.
Yeah, this is the big improver in the race. And I'm just noticing that there's no riders declared for Kopura or if in doubt, get out. So it'll be interesting to see how many numbers actually line up in this. Look, he's a massive improver out of this horse. I saw him win clearly at OTEC in very good company through his previous preparation. I think he'll like the firmer track conditions. He's actually got a record that suggests he goes really much on anything. But black type winner in this sort of race, outside of Kapua, who's got 62, and I'm not sure if he's even going, Leith. Look, he's got a bit of quality here down on the 52 kilos.
Yeah, 52 kilos is a big plus for him. Like you said, Bevan, he looked like he needed that run a little bit as well, and being a small field, he probably maps to sit outside the leader as well.
You know the drill. We need selections. Leith, what have you got?
Yeah, Mr. Mojo Rising for me, 52 kilos on his back. Looks like a horse he can just sort of sit just behind the speed, outside leader, and I think the Whanganui track's really going to suit him.
Might be one of the bets of the day for me, just with that weight and knowing his quality. Look, he's a decent sort of horse going forward. Him who will improve massively out of that fresh up run. And there must be a target in the mix for this horse, maybe in the next couple of starts. So yeah, Mr. Mojo Rising looks a weight special.
Let's highlight race number 1 next, and it is the Whanganui Insurance Brokers 2-year-old over the 1200. And as you can see, Daylight Robbery best backed ahead of a couple of others, the 3 in the single figures, the 4, the 6 and the 7. First replay is Daylight Robbery, horse number 1. The sire's on fire, Super Seth Bevan, a Karaka Million 7th, has been racing in the best company of late.
He's a serious horse, and I thought he might have actually come up a little bit shorter here. We do have the Te Akau process of horses coming down at their debut to take a little bit of money, but he went up to Matamata and it was a leader-dominated day. I thought he was pretty good there. I thought he was great behind La Dorada. Like, he was good running second to Bravery Born prior to that. I thought he'd be really, really shortly. I was really blown away when I saw the price here.
Yeah, look, he's been going great races. Look, he's a horse that's barrier 5 is going to be a big plus for him this week as well. He's race day experience, he's won a race. He's made a field here where he's going to find the opposition a lot easier this week at Whanganui for sure.
The next replay is of the number 4, Cease and Desist, a 2-year-old from the Te Akau stable on debut, a $400,000 yearling, Bevan. You can never underestimate Te Akau's 2-year-olds and has been good at the trials.
Yeah, he has. He sort of got there quite quickly on this occasion and just got rolled late. He's a $41 shot in the sires at the present moment. We just saw Stipulator, who's around about $21. Look, it's a big step from here to the size, but if he was to win well, and he was nicely held at the line, looks like a sort of horse that might improve with a little bit more time. Leith has a bit of body about him by Zoostar. How did you sort of rank him?
Yeah, look, I reckon he's a really good chance this week, Bevan. Barrier 1's going to be a big plus for him. Like you said, you know, if they've got the size in the back of their mind, he should be going awfully hard to beat this week.
Leith, who do you like?
Look, I'm going to go with the Te Akau runner. I think the big horse by Zoostar, he's going to get a nice run from barrier 1, and he's got a bit of scope about him. So I know it's hard taking on like a horse like Daylight Robbery. He's had race day experience and had a win. But yeah, I've just got him just on top.
I think it's an interesting race with War Princess, who's all about speed. You've got Daylight Robbery, he can jump and put himself there. So, look, Cease and Desist will have to get away. I'm going to go with Daylight Robbery. I think the $3 is a great price around a horse who's been against our best in basically a maiden 2-year-old race against a War Princess who's won a race. So really liking him. War Princess is a danger as well, and the Te Ake horse. But look, race day form's always great.
You're back with us for Race Trackers, and we start with Leith Innes. Leith, what have you been watching and what have you liked this week?
Look, last week, this time Gil, she had to change ground about 3 times in the straight. Idle Life was really good, but she was just a fraction unlucky about 2 or 3 times there. And I just think the big roomy track at Wellington, the 2,400 metres of the Oaks in 2 weeks' time is really going to suit her. I don't think she can beat Like a Lucy, but I think the top 3 place bet at $2.83 is great money.
Oh my goodness, look at Dom Pedro off a maiden stayers win at Tauhara Nico. Had no luck, was off the track the entire way at the Derby. I thought he's got to run last, this horse. And he just keeps on attacking the line. If he'd got a decent run in this race, he definitely runs in the money. I think he's going offshore, Emily, but there is massive untapped potential around Dom Pedro wherever he heads to in Australia.
Rather than picking one of the big races from Champions Day, I just went with a horse I think can win at a next start. Sexy and I Mow It will be third up next time she runs. She obviously contested the 1,000 guineas last preparation. She's building to something. She went very close to Francie in the first race of the day at Ellerslie on Saturday, and I think she is a winner in waiting. There's an overview of our race trackers. For Leith, this time Girl, for Bevan Dom Pedro, and for me, Sexy and I Mow It. That's your race trackers here on the Form. It's time for our futures focus here on the Form. Leith will come to you, and we're looking towards an Australian Oaks, I understand.
Yeah, like a Lucy, obviously she's got the New Zealand Oaks first, and then she goes over to the Chris Wallace stable, and look, she's about $1.35 New Zealand Oaks. She just about have to miss her float ride to get beat in that race. So, look, I'm happy to sort of back her in the Australian Oaks at $4.40. I think she's right up there with Willie Dort's sort of class, and I think she'll be giving the Australian Oaks a massive shake on the 12th of April.
Oh, I agree. She is quality. Look, for me, Landlock, $8 in the size, was massive at Ellerslie the other day. Got a nice run into the race, but this horse has got the right profile for me, going the right way, just has that little bit more of a natural racing pattern to just get a little bit off them and tack the line. Emily, I looked at that market a couple of days ago and thought, why? Oh, why is this horse at that price?
He was so eye-catching, wasn't he, Landlock? I've gone with one from the same market, Tajana, who was successful yesterday at Matamata, beating the highly touted Tiakau colt in Hostility. Connections have indicated this is where they're headed, the Manawatu size produce, a horse that's really going to appreciate getting out to 1,400 metres. And whilst the early 2-year-old races were dominated by Return to Conquer and La Dorada, things open up when it comes to later in the season. There's a futures focus overview, Like a Lucy, Landlock and Tajana heading for Group 1 assignments in the coming weeks. That's your futures focus on the Form. Let's wrap up the Form with our best bets. And Leith, we come to you. You're at Tauranga. What are you liking?
Look, I take to the last race, Emily. Monday Melody, I had him on top last start at Pukekohe, where things didn't quite go right. He got pushed wide and had to make a long, sustained run. I think the Tauranga track's going to really suit him. And if they're making a little bit of ground late in the day, look, I'm happy to be on him at $3.20.
Found it a little bit difficult, but ended up with one called Cut Loose for David Howth. Slipped it at first start, got caught 3 wide, was a really good effort behind Truce. Next up start, sort of jumped, put itself in the race and went down a very short margin. I think it'll improve out of that particular run. I only see one danger in the race, and Leadhaven Kessa, who will get back at the River City over 13.40. So liking the chances, Cut Loose, 4-year-old by Darren, who's having a good run at the moment, Emily.
Yeah, and for me, I've gone with Tauranga in race number 6. Horse number 6, King of the North, a winner 3 starts ago at Ellerslie, and since then has posted 2 really good ones. A 4th in behind Willie Do It, and then of course last start only beaten a length and a half at Matamata over the 2,000. That was the first try at 2,000 for this prep. So I reckon the 2-1 at Tauranga on Saturday, rating 75 company, will suit. There's a look at our best bets. The Whale has gone with Addington on Friday, Whanganui Saturday for Bevan Bevan. You've got Leith at Tauranga with Monday Melody, and King of the North for me at Tauranga in race 6. That's it for us here on The Form this morning. Great to have had your company, Bevan and Leith. A big thank you to you. We'll be back next week to bring you all of the previews ahead of another big week of racing.